Hi guys, it's me Julia. I'm back again with a new kiln opening. I have to confess I have done a little glazed kiln a couple of weeks ago with some pieces in that my friend asked for. I didn't record it just because I had a really bad migraine at the time, so I thought I'd just add those pieces onto this video. If I lose my words, so I've got ME brain today. So I shall show you the pieces that I made for her. These are what she requested, which was a lantern, a mug, a little baby vase, and some tea light holders. And the colours are Amico Cobalt and Amico Copper, Mako Copper Float. So, as usual, I'm never 100% happy. The Cobalt, which is usually like a really brilliant go-to glaze, it's so stable and so strong that nothing usually goes wrong. This has come out a little patchy. It hasn't come out quite as nice as I'd hoped. I noticed when I was painting it, it was a little bit thicker because they do thicken up as you use them, because you're leaving them open to the air so they evaporate a little bit. But it didn't seem unusual. But anyway, that is the same across all of them. A little patchy, but still beautiful pieces. I've decided I don't like making lanterns because they just so prone to cracking where you cut them, but they do look lovely. A mug in the same. They've all got the little pattern in there hidden away, and then the two little tea light cups. So that's for my friend. Then the next piece out of that kiln was this little Highland coo or cow, or whatever you want to call him. This one is going to be a wind chime. It has the holes in. Now I was going to do the wind chime clangers, if you want to call them that, as udders, to make it a really funny one. I did make some udders, but they were far too big and they looked clumpy and silly. So this one is going to have traditional metal wind chime little clangers. So when I finish with that, I shall show you. The next thing I did on kind of the outdoor gardening things is a little Toadstool Bell. I saw a lot of like my ceramic friends were making toadstools, and I thought I'll make one. So as I was making it, it was in two pieces. So I thought, what if I actually left it in two pieces and then made it like into a kind of a bell? So that's that. And then at my little group that I go to, I've also made like some other brothers and sisters for this one, so I'm going to have them all over my garden. Then the next thing was a mug. I really love the shape of this one. The bellying is so big and chunky and fat, it's lovely, and the handle's nice. This is Amico Blue Midnight, even though it looks kind of black, and Chun Plum Amico, and Seaweed Amico, with big blobs of oatmeal around and a little bit on the inside there, just from being on the rim, and a little bit on the handle. Not what I was expecting. I was expecting it to be more kind of a blend, like almost a bit like a galaxy kind of effect, but nevertheless I really actually love it. Like I love this shape. This is my go-to shape for a mug. Like, that's such a really holdable, hand-warming kind of mug. And the last piece of that kiln was this French buttercrock that I've been practicing with. You put the butter, block butter in this side and a little bit of water in this side, and then you put it in. It keeps the butter fresh. You change the water every couple of days, and up to a month you can leave your butter in here out of the fridge so you can spread it. And I am a block butter girl, so I have one of these that I've made for myself, and this one is a spare because I made two, one slightly smaller size than the other, and I wanted to see which one was the best fit. This one is but it's almost slightly too big. It goes in, but at a certain angle. But that's Chun Plum and Blue Midnight, both Amacore. And okay, so that's it for that one. So I'll open the kiln now. In this one I have opened it, and there has been a piece taken out. I've put it back in, but it's a piece that Jacob was desperately waiting for and he wanted to have in his room last night. So alright, okay. Jacob loves tortoises, and so I decided to make him one because he wanted a real one, but he couldn't have a real one. So the feet are a little bit rubbish. I wanted to do them so that they stood him up, but I was really worried the feet wouldn't hold the weight when I was drying it. So I decided that I would just make them flat, so he kind of looks like he's gone for like a skid along the floor, you know. But yeah, apart from the feet, which aren't the best, the shell has come out great. Have to excuse, it sounds like the binman in the background. And this is River Rock by Amacore, and this on the head and the feet is Amacore Iron and Amacore Obsidian. But look at how lovely his little face is. I even gave him little eyelids, so if you can see like a little light piece around the very edge, those are his eyelids. And he has nails, look, on his feet, which is very cute. So apart from his kind of silly looking feet, he's lovely. And if you look on the bottom, like I did glaze his bottom and put him on a stilt, but that's River Rock also. So if you see the difference between on a texture and on a flat surface, that's just crazy, the difference that a little bit of texture can actually make to a glaze. So that's that one. And I've been playing with some hexagon shapes that I got. So I've made a large, a medium and a small. The small one I didn't get in this kiln, I think the large one's at the bottom. This is Chun Plum on the base with seaweed around the edge and a teeny little bit of oatmeal to let it flow. And I hand drew the mandala pattern. I love mandalas. Kind of goes to my spiritual side. However, like, so that's 3 coats of Chun Plum there on the inside. This is 2 coats because I didn't want it to drip off the foot, and that's 1. Look at the difference. This looks like oxidized plum. This looks like fresh plum. So real, like, weird. Weird. Okay, next. This one is a little teacup that's been sitting on my shelf waiting to go in the kiln. It was something that broke. It was when I made the Buddha mug, they knocked together and the Buddha chipped a piece out of this. It was only a small crack, but it kept growing. So I decided I would try and rescue it. I took the handle off and I carved out a little bit more of a kind of a purposeful groove rather than the crack, and I decided I would use it in my workshop for either water or just to store some small bits and pieces, because I have made like quite a few little beads and things that I haven't yet glazed and put on the bead rack, so I can use it for storage or for a water pot for when I'm glazing. But that is kind of one of my favorite things to do, is this beautiful roses, snapdragon and rainforest, but it is, and snapdragon on the inside. It would have been a beautiful teacup, but nonetheless it gets still a lovely pot. Another thing I've been experimenting with is a metallic Pilot marker pen, and what it does is it resists glaze and then burns off in the kiln. So you can write, you can draw, make patterns, grids, whatever, and it leaves the bare clay at the bottom. So I just did a few little tea light cups. This one is Hope, and it's in cobalt. Now, same cobalt, same bottle, same process, same kiln, and well, you can probably see more on the mug. Patchy and not patchy. Don't get it. Right, this one, for Mother's Day, Jacob bought me some underglazes. I asked for some underglaze powder. I got 6 different colours, and I got some underglaze medium as well, so to mix it in with to make the underglazes. So I mixed it up to what it said on the website, and it was just cloudy water. So I had a bit of a play around and I managed to get it a bit thicker, but it used a lot of the underglaze powder, so I would have probably been better buying straight up branded ready-made underglaze. But I wanted to get the powder because I can also make coloured slip with it and coloured clay, so it was a more universal kind of multifunction thing. So I managed to have a go at doing this little Textile Plate. These are the original colours, so this was a red, a blue, a yellow, a green, a white and a black. I only just did one coat. When it went on, it like dried as I was brushing, so I need to work on it a little bit more. As you can see, that looks a bit patchy, but I think I need to do it thinner, to be honest. Then these were mixing a little bit of black and the blue. This is supposed to be a purple. It looks like it's fired more of a brown, so that was this and this. This one was, so the orange was the red and yellow, and the brown was the orange with a little black in it. And then green was the blue and the yellow, and that was just red and white. So I got 12 colours kind of out of the 6, and I only did a little bit of each just for to paint on here, so it's not that, you know, I can still mix up plenty of other colours if I want to. It's just really for practice. And then I glazed it with the clear glaze. Mako clear glaze. I didn't glaze the inside, so you can see that's still kind of matte, but I think it worked out okay, so I'm quite happy with that. Right, next shelf. Oh, okay. Okay, right. First piece out is this lovely little plate. I love this. The moon and the star are really kind of a heavy texture, and the glazes have kind of come down, and like I did really glaze it thickly because I wanted to kind of make it less like if I put food on it, I didn't want to get stuck in the indentations. So kind of looks a bit like the Turkish flag, which, you know, I do love Turkey, so that's I think the colour is seaweed on its own. Kind of looks foamy and creamy, but lovely. I absolutely love it. Like, this is probably going to be my sandwich plate. Right. Okay. Right. Straight mug. Hardly ever make straight mugs because I love belly mugs. But I thought I would do a straight mug because I wanted to have a go at some carving. I carved little pieces out in a triangle, like kind of a line across the top, down in a triangle, and then up in another triangle, and a little bit on the bottom. This is Amico, Blue Midnight, and Chan Plum on top, which is the same as this butter dish. But I put it on much thicker because this one I did like 1 coat, then 2 coats, and then just 3 coats at the top because it does run a little bit. This one I put like 3 good coats right round, 2/3 of the way up, and it just, yeah, it's not quite as glazy as I'd hoped, you know, but it's still beautiful. It'll still go on my mug. And look at the handle. That's a proper, like, that's a man handle, that, isn't it? Big handles. I love mugs. I don't even drink tea and coffee, but I love mugs. Okay, next. 2 more of the little tea light with the words on. So this one is Mulberry. Mulberry doesn't come out very well. It's better, a bit better on the inside, but this has some glazed chips in. Mystery chips for a little bit of an effect. And Snapdragon. It's looking quite orangey on there, but it's actually more red. And mystery chips again on the inside with the words love. So yeah, that one maybe's had a slight reaction around where the pen was, but nonetheless it'll work as a little tea light holder. Right, I am making another wind chime for the garden because I saw a nice long dangly one with all lots of little circles on, like this. So I decided I would do one. Well, I've made enough for 2 really, that I've only glazed like 1 set. This is Scarver, the pottery it's like a pottery shop, Scarver online in Ireland, and they do their own glazes. This is a cream one with speckle in because I like a speckle glaze, but it's not very speckly. It's not the speckle that's on the picture. And I've done a number in the cream, and then there is it's kind of like a peacock blue, like quite a bit royal bluish. What is that? You know, like that's not what it says on the bottle. Like, that's awful. That is just awful. You can't even see any speckles, and it just looks kind of burnt. Right, okay, cheering up time. Oh, look at this ball. This is a punk inspired ball, you know, from those studded collars and things. This is done with slip, like little slip dots all over, and it is glazed in palladium, Amaco palladium, which is a metallic silver, and it looks a lot more silvery in natural light, like than on the camera, but it's fabulous. And then obsidian black. The obsidian is just beautiful, really, on its own. But yeah, a little punk ball, and I did little slip dot feet. So I wanted to see if you could do feet with my squeezy bottle that I was using here. I then just did three big squeezes, and then flatten them down a little bit as they were drying. So yeah, rather than actually just put little balls of clay on. But I love that. That's fab. Okay, and another ball. Like look at this. There is a technique called Peacock Glazing. My friend Jeanette, who is at Far Forest Ceramics, have a look at hers, you know, on YouTube. She does some fabulous videos, and her glazing, she works really hard at her glazing, and they're all just really beautiful. So I thought, I also looked at another guy who did a peacock glazing, but he did his by making the clay have bumps in it, and then letting the glaze do the effect. So I thought, well, I'll go a bit in between, and I did push some bumps into the inside, and then one layer around the top I pushed the bumps outwards just to see what it was like. As I say, it's all just still experimenting. And then I need to get this cookie off here, and I used chum plum. It'll need a bit of a knock. Chum plum on there. So that's kind of more still, I guess it's in between the chum plum that it was before, like this one. That's kind of come in between, like the two of those. It's got some of the pink, but more of the brown. And then seaweed and a more falls, I think it was, and some oatmeal on the inside. And then the bumps have given it the nice, a little bit like the peacock kind of effect. But this is lovely. If this was like a sandy colour, this would just look like the beach. It's given me some good ideas, because I am looking for a sandy colour to do a beach effect on a big platter. So these colours have actually come in lovely, so I think I might repeat those on that plate. But again, going from a bowl to a flat plate, the effect's going to be completely different. So even though I've now done, like, you know, 5 or 6 kilns of glazed things, I'm still really right on the very edge of the experimenting, because I'm experimenting with pieces, and I'm also experimenting with the glaze. So, you know, it's probably going to take years to even feel happy with, like, 100% happy with things. Okay, last one. Let's get, oh, my kiln shelf has a little bit of wear in the middle. It isn't all the way through, but you know, it goes up to such a hot temperature, 1210, and then it stays at 1210 for 30 minutes. That's degrees Celsius. And it's just without, you can't even think of how hot it is inside that kiln, because it is glazing. You know, the glaze itself leaves a glass finish, so you are literally melting glass in the kiln. All right. Ooh. Okay. Right. More of those wind chime things. So let's have a look at this is really weird. Let's have a look at the colours. Okay, so there's some, I'll leave some of them in there, the creams. So again, it's come out the poopy blue, which, yeah. So I bought 3 colours. I bought the cream, the poopy blue, and a lighter kind of blue. And the test little pot indicator tiles that I've got for these two, this is the, which is, yes, it's much, gonna have to do some more experimenting with that to get it to look nice, because that looks horrible. And this is the lighter one, which actually looks quite nice. So I'm thinking that I should have put the lighter blue one. But still, it should be workable. That's just not. I'm gonna email Scarver and let them know that that one really isn't very nice. A couple more indicator tiles there from the new glaze colours that I have. So that one was the seaweed, which I've already used on some pieces. This one was the river rock. So again, that is coming out black and blue. And that one is the chun plum. Again, it is more the orange and the pink sea colour. So it's good to know. And then the last piece I have is the Mummy 2, the other hexagon plate, which it's so lovely. I want to give it a hug. That was just the cookie on the bottom, and it's still in one piece. Yeah, I'll have to give all my cookies a clean because they're seeming to be a little bit more sticky, or it's me being a little bit more risky. Probably that one. So this is the Mummy to the. Let me just move that. Mummy to the middle one, and then there is a baby one. Again, a hand carved mandala in the middle. Really beautiful. I love them. These are keepies. I do give some of my things away, but this set I'm going to keep.